Suddenly I was totally not invincible anymore. Like I could die the next month.
Mhm.
And it made me realize like the most important thing is you still have to take care of yourself, and that's going to help you work more efficiently. You can sleep better, work more efficiently the next day, and get more things done in a shorter frame of time, and be happier and less stressful.
Hi, my name is Stacy, and welcome to She Means Business. And today in our episode, I have my very good friend Annie here. It's so good to have you here, Annie, and I'm so excited for all of you to get to meet her because Annie, she is an amazing woman. She used to be a professional dancer. She's a fellow Canadian like me.
Hey, Canada.
She used to still has, or maybe not, we'll find out more, a designer label for designer bags and accessories. And currently she is the marketing and brand manager of Handsome Factory Barbershop, which is a very, I would say, where I'm standing, Annie, it's a very thriving, I constantly seeing it expanding in Hong Kong. So I'm just so grateful to have you here, and I'm so excited for everyone to get to know about you and for us to learn from you today. So let's jump right in, and how about you share kind of like your backstory, or what would you like us to know about you?
Thank you so much for having me, Stacy. And I hope I'll try not to be awkward. This is my first Zoom podcast interview, so I'm gonna try my best. So I started off dancing when I was 3 years old, like a lot of girls, and my dream was one and only to become a professional dancer, be a ballerina, and then be a choreographer. That's all I had in my mind for my whole life, and there was nothing else. That was my vision. And then I had the opportunity. Like I watched this show. I remember when I was 10 years old on a dancing program in Korea where all the dancers were dancing behind the singers, like doing all these like 1970s head rolls, and all the women were all soft and pretty. And I told my mom, I was like, why do they have to dance like that? Like, why can't they be a little bit tougher? And she said, well, that's just the style out there. And I said, I'm going to go there one day and I'm going to change the dance scene in Korea. And she was like, oh, okay, sure. So that's what I did. Eventually, I was spotted by a producer while I was dancing in LA. I was in LA at the time. So I moved to Toronto, and then I moved to LA to dance. And then this producer spotted me, took me to Korea. That's when it all began. I started choreographing for all the singers out there, and going on tour with them and recording on their albums with them. And then eventually I got offered this really amazing opportunity to open up the first entertainment academy in Korea.
Wow.
In Gangnam. So it was like 5 stories high, and it was like the first singing, dancing, acting, and performance school where everyone could really learn the technique of dancing. So I was really excited about that. Poured my whole heart into it. It was my first baby business. And, I learned as I went along, but luckily that was what I did. I knew about dance curriculums. I knew what to do. So it wasn't that unfamiliar to me, but I had a lot of partners who were helping, who were shareholders. But then, I did all these shows, and I had my own dance TV show where I taught all the latest K-pop moves. And then I hurt my back. And it was so serious. I couldn't, I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. I was like almost paralyzed for a few days. And the doctors were like, oh, I think that's it. I don't think you can dance anymore. I had already danced so many decades, and I had a split disc, a burnt disc, and a slip disc. And they said, yeah, you probably can't dance. And my whole life totally changed suddenly. I didn't know what to do with myself. Then I met my husband, and within 9 months, I was married. We moved to Hong Kong. I moved to Hong Kong, closed everything down, just ran off to Hong Kong in the name of love, and which I never thought would happen to me because I was like so career driven and I was so into doing my own thing for the rest of my life and never getting married and never having kids.
Mhm.
So anyway, I moved out there, and then he said, let's start a clothing brand together, like a menswear brand. So then it was amazing because I had never done anything like that before. And I thought, this is so cool. I can do something else with my life. I can learn new trades. So we started that together. And then that was exciting. And then 2009, I was given another opportunity to start a women's brand. And by
Mhm.
then, I was so over making black, navy, brown, and gray for men. I was like, I need some more color options. I want to do something more exciting. And then I thought about it for a long time. And I came up with this idea to start a handbag brand because at the time, there were no handbags that were really high quality that weren't Louis Vuitton, Gucci,
Mhm.
Prada, etc. So like there was nothing in the middle. So I wanted to make something that was affordable for women to buy, but yet it was higher quality and something a little more different in the market. So my whole concept was to work with a lot of creative women. So it was going to be like a really empowering project where every season I would get a different group of creative women together to design their own bags, their ultimate it bags. So first I started with a few celebrities and they designed their own it bags, and it was really exciting to see what they would
Nice.
come out with. Then the next one was a group of stylists. So they worked with Beyonce, J-Lo, Rihanna, The Kills, Kanye. So they were the ones behind the looks. I wanted to see
Hmm.
what they would come up with if they designed their own bags. So they did that. Then we worked with editors from Vogue, ID Magazine, Lowdown, like all these different magazines. And there were amazing bags that they came up with. Um, and it blew up really fast. You know, we were approached by Nordstrom's, Urban Outfitters, Shopping
Wow.
Mall, Isetan in Japan, and then IT in Hong Kong asked for it exclusively. So it was like a small pet project. It was just for fun, and then it just
Mhm.
blew up in within a
Mhm.
couple of years, and I really wasn't prepared for it. You know, it was just me, myself, and I working on this project, and then right away I was pregnant, and my daughter was born. And then,
Yay.
yeah, so yay. But then my whole life changed. Suddenly it wasn't like career, career, career. It was like, oh, there's something more important in life
Yes.
than just working my butt off. There's something that would be my ultimate. Oh, my daughter was born,
Yeah.
and I always had in mind that once I had a child, I would focus solely on her. I would give up everything and just be there for her 100%. But I had already started this brand, so it was something I had to do together, and it was really challenging. I thought it was going to be easy, like just put her down for a nap and then I'll finish all my work and then I'll take her for a walk and then I'll finish all my work. It did not work like that. It was
Mhm.
very, very challenging, especially in Hong Kong when you have to start them in the right school at an early age and all that kind of stuff. So one day we're sitting in an indoor playroom because in Hong Kong the weather is humid all the time or it's raining heavily. There's no outdoor facilities with like a cover of any sort. So if you have a child, you have to take them to these little indoor playrooms.
Yeah.
So Brian, my husband, and I were sitting there thinking like, wow, you just need a space and you just need aircon and maybe some good music. I wish there was something like this for skateboarders.
Yes.
And that's the moment, we're in Wise Kids and we're like, let's do it. And then so that's when Skate 52, Hong Kong's first indoor skate park, was born. We opened that up and we just wanted a place with really chill music, aircon, that all the skateboarders could go to just like skate in comfort. So that was our next business. And then in 2015, he and his partner, he came up with an idea to start a traditional 1950s stylized barbershop in
Mhm.
Hong Kong. He wanted to bring it back. So at the time, it wasn't really trendy. He wanted to bring it back. He did it with his partner, and they, from one shop and one barber, it grew to 27 barbers and counting, and 7 shops, including Lane Crawford IFC and W Hong Kong. And Another one's going to be opening in December, which will make it 8 shops within 5 years. So naturally, I started writing for the shop, and I started doing the branding and the packaging and the products and, social media. Then it was like my full-time job. So that's how I came to this point.
Oh my goodness, I have so many things to ask you. And I one of the things that's popping up in my mind right now is I love how both you and your husband, you guys are like, oh yeah, like, yeah, let's do it. And then you have that action part of it.
We're actually so awful together because I come up with an idea every second of the day, and then he's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
He's so into just dropping everything and then starting something. And that's a recipe for disaster. But luckily, we kind of like, we pick and choose now, or we try to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And well, I think it's wonderful. It's like to also have a partner like that, and then you guys can grow together and you constantly create together.
Yeah, we're
Sounds
blessed.
like he's quite supportive.
Yeah, mostly you can't work together with your spouse.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
it's not a good idea. I don't recommend it. But in our case, it really works, and it's so convenient because I'm like, hey, what should we do about? And then he gives me the answer right away. Things work so much faster, and we just
Yes.
roll off of each other's ideas, and it's just brainstorming sessions all the time. So it's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I like that. And I want to ask you about going back to your bags.
Mhm.
And I like how you're like, you wanted to have an affordable, high, good quality bag, and
Yeah.
you partnered up with like, it's like you partnered with some stylists, some celebrities. My question to you is, how did you connect to those?
So in the beginning, um, back then, no brands were doing that. They weren't getting people to actually design it. They had people represent the brand by doing an ad campaign, but no one was actually saying, hey, I'm going to let
Lab.
you create whatever you want. Like, not just the color of a shoe, but you can just imagine it, draw it out on a piece of paper, and we'll make it happen for you. So no
Mm-hmm.
one was actually doing that yet. And so it was a lot easier than you think. Like,
Mm.
I just asked somebody who knew someone, and I knew a lot of people through the singing industry and from choreographing, and so one person would lead me to another person, and I would like their vibe and say, yeah, I like her style, I like what she's doing, yeah, let's do it. And then everything would be on WhatsApp, or like we would FaceTime and totally design these bags from their rough sketchings. So it was exciting because it hadn't been done before. And
Yeah. And
I would find some bloggers at that time. They weren't KOLs. They weren't designing anything or doing anything of that sort. They were just taking pictures and blogging. I found some of them to design their own bags. And that's how the whole, I think at that time, no one was doing anything like that. So I think the bags came out so unique because they were what that woman thought was her ultimate it bag. And a lot of other women thought the same thing. They had wanted a bag with a pocket for this, or a special bag that converted 3 ways that you could use from morning all the way to night. So all these things came out from collabing with all these people. And, it was like the best time of my life working with other women, and just such an empowering project.
oh, that's so awesome. And like I remember I have a few actually. I really like them, especially because most of my bags are very like recyclable and like grocery bags. I just use it to go out, and then I'll have like this like nice tiny quaint like stylish bag, and sometimes people are like, "Wow, where did you get that?" Because it's not most of my, you know, style going on,
I feel
and
like they weren't like what the trend was at that moment. It was just kind of something that you could use for a while. And that was really important to me.
mhm. I was just thinking like, I could just imagine listening to what your story is. Is it that you got these opportunities because you had your network? And if I had my own idea to make a bag company, for
Mhm.
example, and I didn't know anyone and I'm starting business, what could I do? Or I need to have that network.
Well, I don't think a network is is that important as it used to be, because
Mhm.
now there's Instagram and there's Facebook where you can actually find these people and even write to them directly and instantly know about each other from looking at their Instagram page, and they'll look at yours and go, oh, she's not a psycho. So let me work with this person, see how it goes. But, I do think that it's more challenging to work with people like KOLs,
Yes.
because it's probably not, hey, let me do it for fun. It's probably like, well, this is how much I charge. And,
Mhm.
so it's a bit different now. I gave them a percentage. And, I think with that being said, I think it's easier to contact them directly if you wanted to. And I see no harm in trying.
Yes.
Like, ask them. If you don't ask, you don't get,
Mhm.
right? That's what I tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, if you don't ask, you will never find out. So just ask. And if you get a no, then move on,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because like, just take that step. Worst case, they say no.
Yeah. And it was a fun project because I really wanted to work with a different set of women. But at the end of the day, you really have to know what you're doing too. You need to know how to do the production part of it, because you need to know that it can technically happen, and you need the right people working with you. So that's important too.
The last question I have about this project you had is like, did you ever have someone who submitted a design and you were like, ah,
Oh my God.
but or like, and like, what do you do? Or you took all of the designs?
Oh, yeah. I don't know which one I can talk about. Let me think. Well, this is exciting and interesting because I worked with Amorair, this sunglass company that she makes all the amazing sunglasses for Elton John and Lady Gaga,
Wow.
Beyonce. She's like incredible. I got to design bags with her, and I said, whatever you want, you go for it. Like, she's so out there and it's great. And I just wanted that to reflect on my bags too. And I gave her 100% creative freedom. She was like, I want to make a heart bag. And I was like, that is so adorable. Yes, let's make a cute heart bag. I love heart bags. Let's do it. And she was like, no, like, with arteries and veins and, like a hand clutching it. And I was like, um, maybe not with the arteries and veins, but let's kind of adapt it a little bit. It's going to be kind of hard for the manufacturers to make that. So there was that. There were other designs where, technically it wasn't possible. It was so out there. But we work together and we tone it down and we find the right way to make it happen, because you want to make sure that it's technically not going to fall apart, and it's not an art piece. It can't be too much of an art piece. It has to be still functional.
Yeah.
So we work together on that.
Oh, I love it. Because sometimes, like when we say, like you get a carte blanche, like a white, like a plain piece of paper, and you give someone this artistic freedom, and you get it back, and it's like, wow, what do we do about that? But I think it's like
Some
it's
were really,
collaboration.
yeah. Some were really good. They were like, this is what I want to do. It was really practical. I want to do this with a little something. And it was fine. And some of them were like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do now because I have so many ideas. But now that you asked me to make my one ultimate it bag, I don't know where to begin. And then I would work with them and say, well, what colors do you like? What kind of materials do you like? And then we would work and collaborate and finally get the bag that they really were happy with. So it's a process, and it's always different with everybody.
Nice, nice. And about the barber shop, you took my favorite hairdresser.
I'm sorry, he was my hairdresser too. He was
I,
my
I have
stylist.
I
I was
have my
so
favorite
upset.
hairdresser. I went for like I think for 3-4 years, every 3 months, and then after I was like, "Hey, can I come over?" He's like, "No, no, no, sorry, I only cut men's hair now." And I'm like, "Ah, I've never had a
Yes,
haircut."
I go to the barber shop and I'm like, oh, do you think my hair looks a little like there's split ends? Hoping that he'll cut a bit, but no, no, he's strictly a barber now, and he's so happy. He's like a barber artisan who's like, like the legendary barber of Hong Kong now. Like, he's gonna have all these descendants underneath him. Like, it's gonna be amazing for him. It's a great opportunity, and he loves it.
Yeah, well, he's
So
awesome.
sorry.
He deserves it. I think I've been watching how Handsome Factory
Mm-hmm.
is growing, and I've how do you how do you keep your image so tight?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really easy. I tend to be a little more like experimental and
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's make this, let's do this, and Brian is the one that is the glue to that. Like he is so OCD about every kind of detail, you
Mm-hmm.
know, which is great because you need that for proper branding. He's like, nope, that font is wrong.
Wow.
Angle is wrong. That position should be a little like 2 mm lower. I'm like, sometimes it drives me crazy. And then, but it's important, you know, it's like Starbucks. You go in there, you know, everything is always exactly as it should be. It's very important to keep the brand identity as solid as possible, which is why I think I started writing everything for it because no one else knows what Brian is thinking as much as I do. And I've done so much writing for him for the past 15 years that I know exactly how he's going to say it and how he wants it. So I think no one else could be his publicist except for me. So we work together on it, but he keeps it very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
consistency is key for everything, you know, raising children or, you know, a diet or a business. It's all about consistency.
Mm-hmm. I always teach my students like consistency and persistency. That's how you win.
That is perfect. I'm going to use that.
Tell your dad consistency and persistency, like just
Yes.
both. Because it's really
Consistency, persistency. Can we add passion? You need the
yes,
passion.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's
That's like a
not.
trio. There you go.
Yeah.
Um, how does passion carry you through your projects?
Without it, I wouldn't be able to do anything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have to really, really love what you're doing because it's not a glamorous thing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to be on the beach typing people things. And no, it's like sometimes you are picking and packing your own boxes. There was a point where you're sleeping with your boxes in your living room because you just need that space for that time until it goes out the door. You have to really, really love it and be so passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to last
Mm-hmm.
more than you'll get burnt out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. Like for example, everything that I do, most of the time I'm like, I can't believe I'm like earning from this because I would do it anyways.
Yes,
I'm not doing it for the money.
that's right. You have to, I mean, we all need money, but at the end, you have to be like, I want to make these choices because I think this is right for the brand and I just love this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, oh, is this going to earn me more money if I do it like that? Because people can smell it out. It it's going to be obvious that you're doing it for different intentions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that because people can, like you said, I think I like the word smell. I use it too. Like I can smell it. I can smell it. Like there's a sense. Like you can really catch someone's intention
Yes.
when they do the business somehow.
I mean, because you really have to know your brand through and through, and it has to really resonate to you. Like the target audience has to be someone you know so well in your mind. The wording of it, everything has to just be so well thought out. So it really has to be truthful from a
Yeah.
truthful place.
Yeah, I'm learning this too in my journey with She Means Business because my sister is my business manager,
Oh no, which one?
Jamie. So,
Okay.
like I mean, I write about it too. I have all these different posts about it. It's like I have a certain idea, and at the same time, she's building my brand.
Okay.
And we have this kind of like toss sometimes about, you know, how does it should be because I'm someone who's like, oh yeah, that looks good, but it might not look aesthetically good and it doesn't follow into the brand guidelines that she set up.
Well, she's younger and she's kind of, you know, she knows what's going on
Yeah,
with
exactly.
technology, so it's really good. But I have to say, partnership is like the hardest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know how to give and take for any kind of partnership, including marriage, it's not going to work. But you need to be like, you know what? Okay, you feel strongly about this. I'll let you have that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I feel strongly about this. We're just going to go with that. And then you kind of have to let go. Otherwise, it's really so torturous
Yeah.
working with someone.
Yeah. And the communication of at least being able to express that.
Yes. And say, I agree to disagree,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have to see eye to eye on everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, right? We all are individuals with different ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to roll on to another point
Mm-hmm.
is that when I asked you, because for me, I love our when we have coffee together, when we have phone calls together, I always learn something from you. And for me, you're like that entrepreneur. I didn't use the word in
So
my
happy.
introduction to you. It's also because you didn't have that business school
Mm,
path. And
no,
actually, that's what I'm really passionate about bringing forth of like, you don't necessarily have to study business studies to have your own business.
I knew nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I I knew nothing. Really. I just had to stumble. Stumble is like the best word. Like, thank God there's Google, thank God there's YouTube. I mean, I had to look every single thing up and just learn it DIY. It was it was quite an experience, and just I had to ask for
Mm-hmm.
help. I asked everyone I knew how to do this, how to do that. I was open to learning everything and just trying my best at whatever that was thrown in my way. Like any obstacles, I was willing to learn how to maneuver them.
Oh yeah, I think that's the attitude of constantly learning, and there is this humility to it too.
Yes, yes, definitely. Every day I'm still learning. Like
Mhm.
I will go on YouTube and learn from probably teenager from Singapore teaching about Google Ads or something, or my daughter teaches me different like fonts and
Oh
um
wow!
chatting, and then she helps me with my Zoom to make my filter better. And she's really been really helping me. She's like, "Mommy, for YouTube you need to do this so you can pin it to the top, and you need to do so she gives me a
Wow!
lot of tips. And yeah, I think you need to ask for help, whoever it is, and be open to listening to everyone's ideas and advice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And on that note, like, do you have any exact useful resources that you would suggest? Which ones were really helpful for you?
I mean, YouTube,
Okay.
definitely. I look at it all the time for things like Google Ads to Shopify issues, or marketing campaigns, or just anything, because there's always someone else's opinion that you can listen to and learn something from.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all amazing, but you have the choice to stop it and watch another one, or find one that resonates to you. I look at it for everything, even like I'm learning Wim Hof breathing technique.
What's
So
that?
it's like a very deep breathing technique where you really use your whole breath, and it's like flowing all this oxygen throughout your whole body. It's amazing. You should try it. I'll send you the
Okay.
link.
Okay.
It's great. And then I learn about health tips. I learn about like recipes. I mean, YouTube is so amazing.
Mm-hmm. 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 And what are the three most important lessons that you could share with us through your journey from starting business, running a business?
um I would say I've had like 100 lessons,
Mm-hmm.
but the three most important would be I really think you need to be really ready. Like, lay down the foundation. That doesn't mean like you should take 10 years, but really have everything set before you begin anything, you know. That's really important, the foundation. And then quality. If you're making a product, make sure that your vendor is really reliable, because
Mm-hmm.
bags, they were doing so well, and then we stumbled across an issue with one of the bags where the quality just fell apart. It was just horrific. It was a nightmare. And then, you know, it takes like a minute to crush the reputation that you've worked so hard to build.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we made watches before where there was an issue, and then after that, it was like the orders where some of them the buyers would stop, and
Oh,
you
wow.
know, like in Japan, that's it. Your chance is pretty much over after you make a quality control issue because their quality is always on point. There's never any issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then and it really crushes your brand. Number three, I would say the most important thing I've learned is this is a big one. So about 10 months ago, I had brain surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I found out I had a brain tumor that was really rare.
Mm-hmm.
And within that time frame, like within a month, I had signed myself up for yoga. I was in there every day. I totally changed my diet. I started to really, really take care of myself and put everything aside. Um, and I realized I was so busy driving myself to the ground. I I didn't realize that I wasn't taking care of myself at all.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start doing that, you know, sleeping more, that's important. I was like sleeping 3 hours sometimes. I was sleeping 4, and I was like, it's okay. I'll die tomorrow. I can do it today. And I'm all about like work hard to the ground until your nose is bleeding. Um, but then when I had brain surgery, they cut off my hearing nerves. So I lost my hearing on one side. They cut off all my balance nerves, which was so insane for me because I had been balancing and dancing my whole life. And suddenly I found I couldn't even stand up, put on my clothes by myself without falling over. I couldn't walk a straight line. I felt drunk all the time, which was kind of enjoyable sometimes. And I found this, suddenly I was totally not invincible anymore. Like I could die the next month.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me realize like the most important thing is you still have to take care of yourself. And that's going to help you work more efficiently. You can sleep better, work more efficiently the next day and get more things done in a shorter frame of time, you know, and be happier and less stressful. Like just take that time out and do yoga for 1 hour, clear your mind. You'll get more ideas and things will just roll better. So that was the biggest lesson of my life
Mm-hmm.
months ago.
I love how you it I just love I feel so empowered. I feel like because it's like you
Yeah, do
go
it.
through
Start something.
you just in this like 30 minutes you go through these things like you have this amazing dance platform which I didn't even have a chance to talk about yet, but it's like creating an academy and then you throw out your back and then you have to do
Yeah.
something else and then now it's like with this brain surgery that you recently had to do and there's not hearing right now here and then balancing and not only when you lost your sense of balance for a while then you went to yoga which is almost like the example of balance.
It was so challenging. And, you know, there were times where I was just standing and then I'd fall over. And then everyone, so quiet in there, everyone would look at me like, what happened? Like a big thump in the classroom. And just recently, so like 3 months ago, I would say I started taking, so yoga got kind of boring for me because it was, you know, I was really slow and I was like, go, 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 go. So 3 months ago, I saw their dance class and I was like, maybe
Nice.
that. I went, and of course, it wasn't like fabulous. It wasn't like what I could do before, but you know, now I'm doing all the spinning combinations. I'm like really trying to work my brain to learn the fast combinations, and I'm doing it. And it feels so amazing to be getting back into it because I took a long break from it, but I love it. You know, it's my passion again.
I was just listening to something this morning about like how it's so important for us to nourish our inner fire.
Yes, yes, because it's there. You just need to let it loose, you know?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
all have it.
Mhm.
We just need to not suppress it,
Mhm.
you know? Just find what you love, really.
Mhm. I think for me, just hearing what you said, like that's a lesson for me. So this whole podcast episode is just for me to say that, because I'm rushing this deadline that's like in 3 days. I have like 6 interviews coming up, and I'm also really, I don't want to use the word addicted, but really into my crypto investments and stuff like that. So my eyes are constantly on the market, and I'm just like, I don't sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what you're telling me is like, it's so important. It's even
Yes.
having that 15 minutes of exercise or 1 hour of exercise or whatever for that me time can actually make me more productive,
Oh, yeah.
efficient. Yeah, it's counterintuitive.
Yes, you feel like guilty. I have so much work to do. Why am I sitting here breathing and meditating? But you need to do that. And it's so important because if you do by chance get something, fall ill, which is so prevalent now, everyone's getting cancer, everyone's getting sick from something, from the foods we eat and the environment. That's it. You really can't do anything.
Yeah.
You need to be able to find a way to keep yourself healthy so you can continue to keep working.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important.
100%, 100%. And if you met a woman who really wanted to start a business and she just needed some guidance of what to do, how to get started, what are 3 things that you tell her about what it takes to start a business, or what tips, hints, clues, insights?
Actually, a lot of people have come up to me and asked me
Mm-hmm.
that, because we work on bags together and they're like, you know what, I kind of really enjoyed this creative process and I want to start my own brand. Actually, maybe 4 of them already started their own brand off of
Oh,
business. And I encourage that. I'm like, I will tell you everything I know. I don't know everything, but I will help you with whatever questions you have. But you need to really, first and foremost, find the product that you believe in, and you really have to believe in it. And then secondly, you really need to research it thoroughly. Like you need to look online and look and see if there's anything similar or if it's really needed because, there's like 42% um, of the brands fail because nobody needs that product. But
mm-hmm.
know that until you start really researching what's out there. And at the end of the day, if you feel like I'm still going to make something um, that's better out in that market and my price point, like you have to check the price points and see, oh, am I more expensive? Because maybe nobody wants to try my brand if it's way more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, see your target audience, build your brand and know it through and through in order to start. And then I would say number 3, it's really important, especially now after COVID, to be really tech savvy.
Okay.
If you know nothing about Instagram and Facebook, it's going to be a bit challenging for you until you start learning more about all these things. You need to know those. I mean, you need to know at least social media, how to
Mm-hmm.
build your own website through Shopify or whatever platform you're going to use, because everything is more and more online than it used to be with COVID, and it's so useful because you could outsource and hire someone else to do it. That's why being tech savvy, especially nowadays, is so important. And I heard all the businesses are actually either you're closing down or you're flourishing
Mm-hmm.
online because they're doing actually even better business because everyone's just sitting there with nothing to do. They're not meeting friends and they're just on their phones all day, maybe shopping off of Instagram or Pinterest or wherever they're shopping from. And it's just quick and easy to just press, press, press and be like, oops,
Yes.
I just bought something,
Yes. So
right?
does Handsome Factory have any online medium for engagement or
So we do
traction?
we have a Shopify and
Mm.
we're exclusive distributors for different products. The good thing about barbershops is there's no toxic chemicals. Like you don't go in there and ingest all the chemicals from perms and hair dyes and,
Yes.
straighteners. We don't have any of that. And all the products that we tend to choose and use are like cruelty free, mineral oil free, paraben, sulfate free. We just try to keep it really clean. So we distribute a lot of brands like Bird from California, and then there's Tip Top from USA, Crown Shaving Company from Canada. So like we have a whole bunch of brands that we sell for grooming products specifically only for men.
Okay.
Sometimes I use a little myself. Yeah. So we have it online, but mostly it's going into the barbershops, having this really incredible experience. And you'd be surprised, men are more vain than women. Like we only go, like honestly, how often do you get your haircut? Not that often, right?
Like mine's due. Like 4 months. One time I went 2 years without a haircut.
Yeah, I mean, we don't
Yeah,
really do that, but men have to go in every 2 to 4 weeks
that's
because
very
once it
true.
starts growing out a little, like when I had surgery and they cut out all my hair here, it started growing out and I just felt so uncomfortable. You
Mhm.
just want to get that cut off. So now I understand how a guy feels, but they need to go in there. They have the chit chat of a barbershop experience. They're chatting with their barbers that are like their therapists. They chit chat with the people next to them. They're having like this all male experience. They have a beer before they start their cut. And then, like they get a traditional wet shave, which is actually like a facial. It's like soothing, like a really nice experience. So they come in for the experience and it makes them feel good. So mostly it's in shops, and our online platform is just for our grooming products and gift certificates.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think there's also a lot to learn from you about scalability, like how you took this one shop and in 5 years you grew 8 shops.
Yeah, I can't take that credit for myself, but Brian and his partner Jeffrey, they work so well, incredibly together. Like that is a very amazing partnership. They both complement each other, which is really important. If you want to find a business partner, you
Mhm.
need to find what you're lacking in and find what they're lacking in and be able to like make a perfect person together. And of course, you have to have the right personality to match each other. That's very important. But they both do different things. Like Brian is more creative, and Jeffrey's so good about all the details. And, like he's very strong with paperwork, whereas Brian is more like creative. So they work so well together. And, we were surprised, but it just like shop after shop, it's just been expanding. And daily I have somebody asking me, can we use it for a commercial, or can we
Nice.
pop up? Can we do this? Can we do that? So there's so many really exciting opportunities that are coming in for the barbershop.
Wonderful. And can I share a story about Brian that inspired me or helped me change my
Yeah,
perspective? Is that okay with
sure.
you? So Brian was sharing how his kind of side of how he started 852
Hmm.
was he said that he worked for a English
Oxford
Oxford for an Oxford publication
University Press.
doing
Yes.
editing. Like that was his job. And I was like, I can't believe Brian had a job before. I
I
remember like
know, it's
I was
crazy.
like, because I've always known Brian as this like thriving entrepreneur. And when he told me, he's like, actually, no, I worked as like I worked
Yeah.
and I saved 6 months. He's like, I saved my salary for 6 months. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow. And that's when you mentioned like always like be prepared and be ready.
Hmm.
And that's what I learned from Brian. And I even like I always tell people like, yeah, I know somebody who made this shop and he saved up money to do it.
He had the savings, and then he had the opportunity come his way, and he knew how to take that opportunity. And he wasn't like, oh wait, I don't have a perfect retail space, I don't have any of those things. He was like, I'm going to sell them out of box in my apartment where I live, like 500 square feet, with my whole family. So they would go into the rooms while the customers would come up and dig through these boxes. Like that's how it all started. And now it's like 20-year anniversary of 852 shop. So
Yay.
it's really incredible. Like he did a lot of different jobs. Like he worked at a Korean barbecue place before. Like
Hmm.
he's worked at so many little jobs, and so have I. Like even while I was a dancer and performing, I wanted to do things like I wanted to work at a coffee shop. So I got a job there working at a record shop. We worked at different places, and I think that really adds to your experience. Like
Hmm.
you need to work for these different companies to gain a lot of knowledge about how everybody runs things, and it really helps you for everything you do. Like working at a restaurant once, just their format, how they had rules for their music, what to play at what time, and like the uniforms and things that really comes into play now while I help
Okay.
at the factory barbershop. And I think everything that you gain experience wise your whole life is going to help you. So have like a huge amount of experience to your plate.
And Annie, could I ask whether was it out of curiosity and experience that you worked as a in the coffee shop or records, or was it also for livelihood?
Well, at that time I was doing I was acting. So I remember my agent saying, you cannot act unless you have all the experience within you. You
Mm-hmm.
really have to know what life is all about. And I have been so sheltered in my ballet class my whole life. I just felt like I want to try that. I want to try getting a job. I want to do other things. And yeah, let me try working there. I love music. Let me try working there. And every place I went to with the different managers I've had, they've helped me and taught me so much. And I think it's helped me for everything.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful in the sense like when sometimes it's so tempting to be like, oh, like I really want to, I'm like working at this coffee shop. I wish I could do my business. I wish, but it's also that whatever you're going through, like you said, it comes into play
Yes.
a long game.
Brian was like picking and packing boxes for one of his jobs. I forget which one. But like that later we have a warehouse where we have a distribution company where we distribute lots of clothing brands, and that came into play. Like you just never know where you're going to need those experiences for everything. It's so
Mm-hmm.
helpful,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, that's helpful and encouraging. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Annie, like one final question for you is that what advice would you give to women who want to start their own business and start on their own? Maybe they're working a 9 to 5 job now. Maybe they've been a homemaker the whole time. They've never, ever, ever stepped into business.
I think we talked about this though. It's to find your product that you believe in and then also research, make sure you really know what's out there first before you throw out a product like, hey, I designed this, but it's already out there and there's more
Mm-hmm.
people out there. And then, of course, check out those price points and see if it's necessary. Is your product that necessary, especially with what's going on with the environment and global warming? Like, do we need another blah 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 out there? Like nobody needs more crap in the house. Like nobody needs that. So you need to really think, is this something that's going to change people's lives? And then
Mm-hmm.
or is it something that people really want? And then thirdly, yeah, to be more tech savvy, because you really need to know how to do things. And you're going to have to shop online. Sometimes I just shop to get the experience and see, oh, you know what, I could improve on my shop by
Yeah.
doing this, and I need better packaging and things like that. And you have to know how to do all these things. I think it's very important, unless you plan on just hiring everyone for everything, but you need to know a little yourself to be able to manage them.
I love learning from you in the sense that it feels like every single moment you cherish it to be like, oh yeah, I can learn something from this moment. Like even shopping, it's like, wow, this shopping experience online in another company website. It's like, wow, how does this add value to me? What can I learn from this? What can I improve from this? And when I'm in yoga class, this is what I could learn as well. Like,
Yes.
oh, I can
I,
have a clear
I
mind.
I love multitasking, and I'm definitely, I mean, like years and years of Russian ballet training, I am not lazy by all means. That I think that's the only way you can continue. You need to not be lazy. This is not for somebody who wants to like chill for the rest of the day and then do some. You have to have that self-discipline, because no one else is going to be breathing down your back telling you you need to get that deadline done. You need to do it yourself. So it's
Yes.
just me, myself, and I. You have to get it done. So I think not being lazy is so important, and being disciplined, those are important qualities, right? You're
Yeah.
working all the time, even on holiday.
There's no
You're
holiday.
There is no holiday. We're on the beach and I'm like, oh, I just need to post this really quick. Oh, I need to reply this really quick. And he's doing the same thing, even during like a Thai massage in like Bangkok. We're like, oh, hold on, I need to send this out really quick. So it's like constantly, you're never shutting it down. if you like that 9 to 5 and let me just leave it at the office type of thing, then you should stick to that job, because when you're doing your own thing, it's all the time on your mind. Whether you're shopping, I'm thinking, oh, how am I going to improve on my packaging? When I'm doing this, meeting friends, I'm like, how can I incorporate this to the, like it's constant learning and constant working.
Yes. Sounds like my dad.
Yeah. He was an amazing entrepreneur.
Yeah. I remember one time he was like kind of lecturing me, talking about business at night, and I was like, I want to go downstairs to watch Ally McBeal. Like, I was like, Dad, can I get that? And he was like, what? He's like, you don't get time off.
Yes, no, he's
like,
right.
Just to watch a show for 45 minutes? He's like, where are your priorities? And I was like,
yeah. Ask me about any musician or song or TV show before 2000, anything after 2009, I have no idea. Like, I have not been listening. Like, now I'm starting to listen to more music, but I did not watch TV for 10 years. I did not watch a single, I don't know, K-drama. Everyone's so disappointed when they meet me. They're like, oh, you're Korean. Don't you love blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I do not watch TV as a series, because once I get sucked in, I will not have the time to do other things. So I don't know anything out there. But from COVID, that's when I started watching like Queer Eye and all these other Modern Family, and it was nice just sitting around watching TV for a bit. But there is no time for that, really.
I love it. We learned so much from you, Annie. Thank you so much for your sharing. And if anyone would like to contact you or follow you and see what you're doing, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Oh my God. So if you want skateboards and streetwear, then you should definitely go to EP2 shop in Costa Bay. And then if you're wanting to go and bring your kids, or adults can come to Skate 52 to do skateboarding and have lessons. If you want bags, then you should go to mataharibags.com. It definitely, if you're a man or you have a boyfriend or a husband, you should send them to Handsome Factory Barbershop so they can
become more handsome.
And support your local businesses, because if you don't, they'll close down and there will be nothing left in Hong Kong. So if you don't support each other and do that, then you're gonna have only online shops left, right? So go to your local little fruit stand and buy your fruits there with no packaging, or go to your local barbershop.
Yay.
And support.
Okay, thank you. We'll do that. Thank you, Annie, and we'll catch you soon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.